Jai Sadgurudev, let's remember the Almighty. Dhyanamoolam Guru Murti Pujamoolam Guru Padam Mantramoolam Guru Vakyam Mokshamoolam Guru Kripa प्रभु के सुमिरन ध्यान में शुद्ध हो ये सब अंग आत्म अंतःकरण में चढ़ता निर्मल रंग. Jai Sadgurudev, good morning everyone. I welcome you all in this special series of the online satsang organized by Vihangam Yoga Singapore team. One of the greatest initiatives to share the knowledge from the survey, the knowledge from the spirituality, putting light on each and every particular topic to build up our spiritual foundation very strong. And definitely by attending this session, you might be able to understand how to start a journey within yourself. So please stay focused till the end of the session. If you are the first time here, please visit our Facebook page, YouTube channel, because all our previous session recordings are available there. They are very rich in content. If you can understand, please always like, share, and subscribe to your friends and family members. Thank you. On behalf of a very dedicated and committed team of Vihangam Yoga Singapore, I am Om Prakash, your host today. Extending our thanks to all our regular practitioners of the Vihangam Yoga, all our regular attendees of the session, all the newcomers and our core team members and their family to grace this occasion. Now, let me bring you to the agenda of today's session. As you can see on the screen, the entire session will take about 1 hour to complete. The first few minutes for the general introduction and welcome. At the beginning, there will be opening prayer and followed by the talk. And today's talk is fully dedicated to the topic of Antahkaran, the inner organs of the soul. It is a very interesting topic. There will be a great learning for all of us. Some key messages from the survey from the master are going to reveal. So please listen very carefully. Talk followed by the question and answers. Any question related to the talk will be answered on the spot. However, if you need more explanation, that will be continued later on. At the end, there will be a closing prayer and thanksgiving to the everyone. Now let's get ready for the general introduction. For those who are not aware of Vihangam Yoga, allow me to introduce you. Vihangam Yoga is an NGO, a pioneer in yoga and advanced meditation training, aiming at uplifting the human life in all aspects. The organization was established in year 1924 by His Holiness Sadguru Sridhar Devji Maharaj, who discovered this wonderful meditation technique after 17 years of the strenuous meditation practice in a dense forest in Himalayas. Today, under the guidance of the Pradyan Sadguru, His Holiness Sri Swatantra Devji Maharaj, Vihangam Yoga has reached around 50 countries and has transformed the life of more than 5 million disciples. Our international headquarters is situated on the bank of Holy River called Ganges in Allahabad in India. The organization registered at the Sadguru Sridhar Dev Vihangam Yoga Sansthan, a trust in India. While in Singapore, Vihangam Yoga was officially launched in year 2018. Since then, many activities are ongoing, and now it has become the well-known brand in yoga and meditation in Singapore. I also like to introduce one of the unique and the largest center of the meditation to preserve the spirituality as it is for the larger period of time. The center is being constructed under the name of the Surved Mahamandir, which is very close to the holy city of the Varanasi, where 20,000 people can sit together and do meditate at a time. Please do visit if you are the true seeker. Now let's start the session. First, we're going to offer a welcome song, a small prayer for the world peace and prosperity. The prayer will display in the screen in Hindi and English. To offer a prayer on a holy feet of the Master and get blessing for the session, I would like to invite Master Pranav. Pranav, in his primary education, and he is very dedicated to the Vihangam Yoga activities. Depending on his age, he's trying his best. Pranavji, for the Swagat Gan and Mangal Gan, please.
स्वागत गान। आज स्वागत नित्य गुरुवर संत शुभागम आइए, अध्यात्म विद्या देवी ज्योति सोमरस बरसाइए, दोष दुर्गुण दूर करके शुद्ध हंस बनाइए, भेद गम गति ज्ञान गर्जन शक्ति द्वार हटाइए, खुले द्वारा शब्द सागर भक्त जन अनहवाइए, जन सदा फल विश्व शिक्षक शान आन बचाइए, शान आन बचाइए। मंगलगान। विश्व शांति नाम मंगल परम गुरु को ध्याइए, वर्ग द्वंद अशांति दूर कर भाव भेद मिटाइए, सार्वभौम समष्टि सत्ता ध्यात्म राज बनाइए, भेष भाषा भाव जगमय ज्ञान पर दरसाइए, समृद्धि सुख शांति धरातल स्वर्ग भूमि बनाइए, विश्व शिक्षक जन सदा फल नीति स्वर अपनाइए, नीति स्वर अपनाइए। Thank you, Jai Sadgurudev.
Thank you, Pranavji, for offering a prayer on a holy feet of the Master. And moving forward to the next activity, which is a talk, and I hope we all are waiting for it. Today we're going to talk about Antahkaran, the inner organs of the soul. As we all know that we are in a body form, there is many elements, many instruments are given us to help to run this entire body. And our duty also is to make sure they are working correctly. To give you an example, a long back, I bought a smartphone, even though it wasn't new, and I selected a brand new, a good brand. I open up the phone, put my SIM card, make a call. Then I realized this phone not able to store any information. Somehow we said this is not a good phone. And after a few years, I bought the other phone. It's the latest model, 5G. And I realized when I make somebody calling me, and after a call finished, it asking me, do I know the person? Is it from my official side? Is it from my social prospect side? Or is it a scammer? Or is keep asking about a few things until I deny this. So my friends, does some kind of thing happening with us? If we get some kind of information outside, if we read something, we listen something, or we keep on thinking about it? This is how the body works. So what is going to be happening within us? Let's deep dive into all these things, the inner organs of the souls. I would like to invite a great speaker to joining us from Singapore, is a Singaporean, Mr. Saurabh Sinha, a senior co-team member, almost associated with the Vihangam Yoga for more than 3 decades. The entire family is blessed by Swamiji, and we are always learning from you. So you're welcome on this stage, and please, everybody join the talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Omji. Jai Sadgurudev, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so most of what we are going to say and we have said in this forum is based on the Svarved. The Svarved, as you all know, is the unparalleled encyclopedia of spirituality. It consists of more than 3,000 verses and couplets. It was composed by Sadguru Sadafal Dev out of 17 years of his rigorous meditation, the experiences of which have been penned down in this book. And Sadguru Sadafal Dev Ji's meditation and his spiritual experiences, which have been penned down in the Svarved, resulted in the resumption of the flow of the long lost knowledge of Brahmvidya in the present age, which we see in the form of Vihangam yoga today. In today's talk, we will dwell on the soul and how it operates in this world through its internal organs. So, in our first episode of this season, we had introduced 6 eternal entities, and we had said that everything that exists in the universe and beyond comes within the purview of one of these 6 entities. In the same episode, we had talked about the eternal Sadguru entity in some detail. Soul is another one of these 6 eternal entities. And all of us are, as Omji pointed out, ultimately souls housed in our mortal bodies. Souls are conscious, unipresent, eternal entities. Since they are conscious, they have knowledge. However, since souls are unipresent, their knowledge is not complete. Or you may say that their knowledge is not as complete as that of some other omnipresent conscious entities like God, like eternal Sadguru, and even Akshar Brahm. Since souls are eternal, they have a permanent existence and their existence is independent of time. So, to say in other words, they have always existed and will always continue to exist. Coming to the soul itself, the soul has 4 internal organs. They are the mind, the intellect, the Chitta, and the Ahankar. Now, why do these 4 inner organs exist? They have been created to cause or facilitate the outer flow of consciousness of the soul into this mortal world. In other words, without the inspiration of these 4 organs, the 5 sense organs and the 5 organs of deed cannot function at all. In spiritual parlance, we say that these 4 inner organs connect, entrench the soul to Prakriti or to this mortal world. Now, 3 of these 4 inner organs are made up of the 5 elements of nature or Prakriti, as you very well know: fire, water, earth, air, ether. But one of these organs, which is the mind, is constituted slightly differently from the other 3 organs, and we will discuss it later on. But let us first begin our discussion of the 4 organs by dwelling upon the Ahankar, which is one of the 4 internal organs of the soul. Recall that soul is a conscious entity. Therefore, soul has knowledge. But apart from knowledge, the conscious soul has 2 other permanent attributes. The soul has resolve and it has initiative with ownership. Now, Ahankar is that inner organ of the soul which is responsible for this initiative and ownership. This internal organ, the Ahankar, it resides in the heart region near the soul. And through this organ, the soul makes resolves, takes initiatives towards fulfillment of those resolves through the conduct of deeds, and takes ownership of those deeds. And since it takes ownership of the deeds, their consequences also come in by default. So in the mortal world, what does the Ahankar do? The Ahankar predisposes the soul to conduct deeds through the sense organs and through organs of deed. And it also takes ownership of those deeds. So this is what Ahankar is all about. But before we move to the other three organs of the soul, let us first discuss the current setup of the soul itself. Recall from our previous discussion that since souls are unipresent entities, they do not have complete knowledge of everything that exists. And due to this lack of complete knowledge, the souls disengaged from what was their default permanent abode. That was the abode of God. They disengaged at their will due to the ignorance or due to lack of complete knowledge and came into the domain of Prakriti or this mortal world. This, therefore, is the first knot of ignorance, the one due to incomplete knowledge or lack of knowledge. Now, once they came into this mortal world, they started conducting deeds and they got caught, therefore, in the unending cycles of births and rebirths in the domain of Prakriti. Why is that? Because once the soul started to conduct deeds, they were bound by the consequences of those deeds. And as we have seen in a previous session, the deeds and their consequences can be divorced in time. So therefore, they have to, once a deed has been conducted, the soul needs to wait for those consequences to also expire by facing them. And in the process of waiting, the soul conducts new deeds, which leads to an unending flow of deeds and consequences. This becomes the second knot of ignorance due to the conduct of deeds. Now there is a third knot of ignorance as well. The souls are blanketed by a veil of ignorance of Prakriti. That is why they have lost their conscious character. In addition to their three permanent attributes of resolve, initiative, and knowledge, they now have three additional characteristics of happiness, sorrow, and jealousy or animosity. This is due to their association with Prakriti. And this is the third knot of ignorance. We, the souls, now therefore need to reverse this journey. We need to find a way back to our permanent abode. And this is possible only through the acquisition of the knowledge of Brahmvidya. Now, in our second episode of this season, we had discussed the concept of eligibility. And we had said that the way out for the soul from the morass of Prakriti was the acquisition of Brahmvidya. And we had also said that we need to build eligibility within ourselves for the grant of Brahmvidya. Now, in our third episode, we had come to the conclusion that various yoga meditation pathways that exist in the world are all trying to build eligibility within us. In our fourth episode, we had concluded by saying that all pathways realize the challenges posed by our own minds in the process of acquiring eligibility. We were then able to link the acquisition of eligibility to the taming of our minds, and had concluded at that time that all yoga meditation pathways like Hatha Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga ultimately seek to make us better versions of ourselves by equipping us to tame our minds. But before we embark upon that journey of taming our minds, let us first understand a few things about the mind. And for this, we delve into the Swarved. What does the Swarved have to say about the mind? So, according to the Swarved, mind is one of the four internal organs through which our soul connects with and operates in this mortal world. Left to itself, the soul cannot operate in Prakriti, because the operating system of conscious entities is different from that of inert entities. So soul is a conscious entity, and Prakriti, which is the mortal world, is an inert entity, and these two do not talk to each other. That is why mind is required as an intermediary. Now, mind is a vital link between the soul and the mortal world. It is a unique entity in the sense that it is semi-conscious. It has dual attributes. It has attributes of inertness as well as that of conscious entities. So unlike the other three organs, inner organs of the soul, mind is not entirely composed of the five elements of nature. And unlike the other three inner organs of the soul, which only operate within the realm of Prakriti, mind has the ability to breach the bounds of Prakriti, and it can transcend into the early realms of the conscious world. But this is a topic which has to be discussed at length in another episode. For the purposes of this episode, what we need to understand is that since mind is a semi-conscious entity, it is able to connect the conscious soul at one end with the five sense organs and other five organs of deed, which are all inert organs, at the other end. And therefore, through these organs, the soul performs deeds in this mortal world. And therefore, as a result, as we said earlier, it is bound to face the consequence or the consequences of the conduct of those deeds. This is the most important reason why the cycle of births and rebirths exists. And to break out of this unending cycle is the main objective of human life. Let us go deeper into the mind. Now, you know that we have three states of mortal world consciousness. All of us are either awake, or we are in the dream state, or we are in the state of deep slumber. When we are awake, the mind usually functions before or in front of our eyes. So in other words, the mind goes wherever our eyes wander and picks up knowledge and information to be conveyed to the soul. However, it is possible that the mind is somewhere else as well, even though our eyes are open. This happens when our eyes are open, but are not registering the stimulus that is being sent through the eyes. What happens in this case? In this case, the mind could be with the intellect, or the mind could be with the Chitta, or the mind could be with the Ahankar. We will discuss all of these instances later during this presentation. So like the soul, the mind is also a unipresent entity. It exists only at one place at one time. At the same time, it has got a fleeting nature. It jumps around from one object to the other, from one sense organ and organ of deed to the other. When we are awake, it is in a state of incessant motion. This is by default its nature. This is the nature of the mind. And this is the reason why it's able to provide a platform for the soul for a constant grasp of stimuli, knowledge, information from the external world. Mind is the entity through which the soul externally ruminates on external knowledge and information gained through the senses. And this is called Manan. So the Manan happens in the mind. Now let's go to the intellect. Sometimes during the process of information gained through the mind, there comes a need for internal debate, analysis, compare and contrast. For this purpose, the mind needs to associate with the intellect, which resides in the upper head region. The intellect, together with the mind, helps the soul to perform Vivechan, or a deep analysis. So let's, for example's sake, suppose, you could have faced situations in which you were completely lost in a class while listening to the teacher, for example. Your mind at that time was busy with Manan. It was fixated on what the teacher was saying, and the mind was trying to grasp the subject. Then there could be other instances when you are awake, but you are completely cut off from the external world. There is deep rumination going on within you while you are busy processing and analyzing the information that your mind had gained earlier on in the process of Manan. This is Vivechan, where the mind associates with intellect in generating output for the soul. There is yet another situation in which you are lost in some remarkable thoughts or experiences of the past. It could be a thought triggered due to encounter with a similar occurrence in the present. For example, you could have met a person in the past and you happen to see the same person again. Or you're passing through a place and it suddenly triggers memories of a similar place you had visited in the past. Or it could even be that you met a person or visited a place for the first time, and you are left with this eerie feeling that you have met this person before or you have been to this place before. Now, in yet another situation, you could suddenly develop a craving to repeat an enjoyable experience of the past. In all these cases, the mind is in association with the third entity or organ, which is the Chitta. The Chitta is co-located with the soul in the heart region again, like the Ahankar. Chitta is the memory storehouse of the soul. Like the intellect, it is also an inert entity which cannot function by itself. It is just a storehouse. Therefore, it needs a conscious or a semi-conscious entity like the mind to associate with it to function. The Chitta you can imagine to be an entity with an infinite memory capacity. What does it do? It maintains complete records of all the deeds performed by us souls over all of our infinite past births. It is always up to date. Now, when we are saying deeds, it could also be thoughts which have not translated into any action. Just because a thought came to your mind, a deed was conducted, and it is also registered as a deed in the Chitta. Now, since every deed has an associated consequence, the Chitta also records all consequences which have been faced by us and those which we have yet to face. Therefore, the Chitta also houses the Prarabdha. What is the Prarabdha? The Prarabdha is the portion of the total unexpired consequences of past deeds which have been allocated to us as destiny for those consequences to be borne by us in this present life. In other words, when we bear out our destiny, a portion of the unexpired consequences of the past deeds gets extinguished. Now, each record that is stored within the Chitta constitutes what is called a sanskar in spiritual parlance. Each sanskar is a multi-dimensional store of information pertaining to the composite experience that has been obtained by the soul through the conduct of a particular deed. So every deed is stored as a sanskar in the Chitta. The memory record is called the sanskar. Now, when the conscious power of the soul connects with the Chitta through the mind, deep inner rumination called chintan begins to take place. The mind sifts through the sanskars like a photo album. The only difference here is that this album of the Chitta has got multi-dimensional photos. So each one of them triggers what we call vrittis of the Chitta. What are vrittis of the Chitta? They are desires generated by the association of the mind with the Chitta. And these vrittis or the desires of the Chitta predispose our minds to act in a way so that pleasurable experiences are repeated. At the same time, when the mind is sifting through some unpalatable episodes of the past, it triggers feelings of pain, suffering, fear in the mind, and our mind wants to veer away from such experiences. Death is an example. There have been multiple painful experiences of death in our souls as we have passed from one body to the other. And these are all episodes stored in our Chitta. So even though we have not faced death in our present life, we are fearful of death. That feeling of fear is already there in the Chitta on account of several episodes of death that we have already faced. Now the Chitta vrittis, which are the desires, like the fragrances of desires, which come out of the Chitta through the association of the mind, they also predispose us to be and to act in certain ways according to the nature of our destiny or prarabdha. Hence, we must always use our free will to, in association with the prarabdha, make sure that our deeds and acts are virtuous and they are geared towards building eligibility within ourselves on a continuous basis. So even if our prarabdha is geared against us in a particular birth, we must, through our purusharth or our resolve, determination, do virtuous deeds through our own free will and surmount the unfavorable prarabdha. Now, when we are asleep, then our mind, you recollect, our mind was in front of our eyes when we were awake. Now, when we are asleep, then it changes position. The mind goes within our bodies. Now, if it chooses to reside in a channel in our neck or throat region, which is called the hita, then we get into a dream state. Now, what happens in the dream state? The mind again associates with the Chitta. Now, through the sanskars or the memory records which are stored in the Chitta, the mind then generates stories that play through the period of our dream state. Now, some of these stories could be from past episodes of conducted deeds across our several births, and therefore you would get the associated feeling of pleasure or pain. Now, in some cases, the mind could also be tapping into some of our prarabdha, which is yet to unfold before our current lives. Yet, in some other cases, a fictitious concoction could also be constructed by the mind based on events that we have recently encountered and the records of which are lying fresh in our Chitta. Now, from the dream state, when we go into a state of deep slumber, then the mind gets co-located with the soul in the heart region. In this state, it is completely disconnected from the other three organs. It is blanketed by an intense layer of tamas, of prakriti, of the mortal world, causing the flow of outer knowledge into the soul to stop. In this state, the soul gets completely cut out from the mortal world, and it has no knowledge that the mortal world exists. So, what does this show? This shows that in relation to the soul, the mortal world exists only to the limit of our mind. So, if you imagine the soul to be the center of a circle, then how far the mind travels determines the radius of that circle. And this circle, the area that is encompassed within the circle, is the extent of the mortal world. So, in other words, mind is equal to prakriti in some sense. When there is no mind, there is no prakriti or this mortal world. This has very important learnings from the point of view of spirituality, where our mind is considered to be our biggest impediment in spiritual progress. The mind keeps us engrossed in material world pleasures and entrapments. In a way, it keeps the soul intoxicated and mesmerized with the mortal world, while the human body in which the soul is encased has a finite lifetime. It is predetermined in terms of the number of breaths. And the mind does not let the soul use that great opportunity it has got through the human body to break free from this unending cycle of births and rebirths. Note that liberation is only possible from the human body out of all the 8.4 million and over life forms which have been seen by the sages. And there is no guarantee that we will get this human body form again. Therefore, we should be using this opportunity which has been given to us to become fully eligible for the grant of Brahm Vidya into us, which then becomes our cause of liberation and salvation. This 5-stage Vihangam yoga pathway, meditation pathway, it provides the meditation practitioner with a very quick, practical way of taming the mind. And through the 4S framework of Seva, Satsang, Swadhyay, and Sadhana, where Seva stands for service, Satsang stands for the company of the truthful and the learned, Swadhyay is a reading of spiritual literature like the Swarved, and Sadhana is the meditation. Through this 4S framework, it enables us to lift the character of our mind as well as purify all the inner organs of the soul. But Vihangam yoga does not stop at merely taming the mind as well. So for example, in the fourth stage of Vihangam Yoga meditation, the mind is made to dissolve at its root cause of origin. And recall from a previous discussion that when there is no mind, then there is complete lack of prakriti. Sorry. And the real journey to the conscious realm actually begins thereafter. So with this, I would like to end my presentation for today and would be very happy to take any questions.
Any question, please? Saurabh, could you put a little more light on the chitta, the storage? You are muted. I think we can't hear you.
Sorry. Any specific aspect, Omji, of the Chit that you want more elaboration on?
It's like it's storing all this memory kind of thing, right? So how we can cut off? I mean, we don't let go anything to store, something like this.
Oh, okay. So then this would lead us into a discussion of two things. One, when we are within the realm of Prakriti, then we are conducting mostly worldly deeds. And any worldly deeds that we conduct, the records are there in the Chit, and by default, consequences of those deeds are also, those records are also created, so, and they get borne by us over time. But there are special deeds, like for example, the conscious meditation that is performed through the human body. This is a special deed. This deed does not have a mortal world consequence because it is not being conducted out of mortal world instruments. So in the theory of deeds, the deeds which are conducted within the mortal realm using mortal world instruments are recorded within the Chitta. And those special deeds which are conducted through the conscious mechanism of the soul are special deeds. They do not have consequences in the mortal world realm. Therefore, they are not causes of bondage. So if you are looking to conduct special deeds, then you need to elevate yourself to conscious realms of meditation which have no bonding in terms of good or bad deeds and therefore good or bad consequences. Does this make sense, or would you want any further clarification?
Yes, I'm getting it. So basically, we are talking how to minimize the storage, right? So not let things come into the storage, and we should not be bonded in a future. So in other prospect of these questions, the information already stored, and we are bonded, as we call it, the prarabdha. So what are the base? I mean, if we can minimize the consequences of the prarabdha, we do not know, I mean, how many lives we need to take birth and how we are going to clean it. So what is the shortcut method or anything you can suggest here?
Sure. So, I mean, this is a very profound topic, which was actually reserved for some future session. But we are delving into the concept of virakti, or a completely renounced person, which in spiritual parlance or in the context of Swarved is called a Jivan Mritak. Jivan Mritak means a living dead. Now, who is a living dead in spiritual parlance? Now, this person has developed his consciousness beyond the mortal world realm and is connected with the divine. And by virtue of being connected with the divine, he is completely dissociated with, or his consciousness is completely dissociated with the mortal world sense organs and organs of deed. Yet, he's conducting his body, since he has to live in the mortal body to expire the consequence of his worldly deeds, he therefore conducts these operations through his soul. This is a special circumstance where even worldly deeds are being conducted directly through the soul, but in a supremely detached state. There is no asakti or attachment of this person with the deeds that are being conducted by him for the maintenance of his life in this mortal world. Only in that circumstance would the registering of mortal world deeds and their consequences in the chit stop. There is no other shortcut.
Ji Saurabh, thank you.
You're
if
welcome.
anybody has any question, please feel free to unmute yourself and
Thank you, Saurabh. Very good explanation and very good presentation of the inner soul. Really,
Thank you, sir.
thank you very much, Saurabh.
Thank you very much.
so thank you, Saurabh, for such a wonderful talk. And it was a great learning for all of us. And
Thank
what
you,
we learned
Omid.
today, what we learned today is a soul always exists. It has a knowledge. The four eternal organs are the mind, consciousness, Chitta, and Ahankara. Ahankara allows the ownership of the soul. It allows to conduct the deed. We need to understand mind is the semi-conscious. The Manan happen in the mind. The Chitta is the memory stories. It keeps updated the record inside our Chitta. Whatever we create the action, whatever we did, all these stories has been happened in the Chitta. This Chitta make our sanskaras to obtain by the soul to conduct the deed. The seva, satsang, sadhana, and self-reading are very important to purify the inner organs of the soul. And the fourth stage of the Vihangam meditation is the point from where the mind dissolves and the journey has started for the spiritual life. Thank you, Saurabh, for today's wonderful talk. And now let's move forward to the Santi part, a closing prayer. I would like to invite Pranavji to offer a Santi part. He's still in the primary education and very inclined in the Vihangam Yoga activities. Let's join Pranavji for the Santi part, please.
जय सद्गुरुदेव शांति पाठ हे प्रभु शांति स्वरूप हो शांति शांति में शांति 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 जन शांति हो पूर्ण शांति में शांति हे प्रभु शांति प्रदान कर दूर हो सर्व अशांति देव सदा फल शांति में शांति शांति सुख शांति 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 सुख शांति थैंक यू जय गुरुदेव
Thank you, Pranavji, for offering a Santi part. And it was a nice, successful session. All the participants get ready in a short span of the time. Thank you, Saurabh, for our speaker today. And you have been guided us from a long time. And it was a wonderful delivery as well today. We learned a lot. And definitely we will try to improve each and every aspect of the life to bring out the best. And waiting for you to listen to more session, more topics. And thank you for keep on supporting us. And thank you, Podaji, Subhaji, Chandanji, Vikasji, Hariji joining this session. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve you here. And as you can see on the screen, you can share your feedback. You can follow us on our Facebook, and you also the small part. If you'd like to do such kind of seva, the QR code is already there. And I also like to invite if Subhaji Chandanji is here, if they can give some kind of information about this Survey Mahamandir. The big event ongoing is going to happen in December. Subhaji, are you? So if anybody like to share something, you can please unmute yourself, and we are near to the end of the session. Anybody, please? If not, then thank you everyone for your participation, and see you in the next session. Till the time, take care, stay happy, healthy, and bye-bye. Thank you. Jai Sadgurudev.